Good morning, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I'm going to clear the noggin. I am B, and I thought today was a good day to hop on and do a card read. I'm wearing my happy sweater to bring in some joyous energy and some bliss and some sage here to clear the energy. I've picked the decks today. We're starting up. Oh, and let's begin. We're going to hop in first with some nice amethyst to the Sacred Sea Oracle by Justine Cerebum. Don't know if that's how you pronounce her name or not, but there we go. This was actually one of my first decks that I ever bought myself. So I have actually a large collection of decks. Everybody collects something, I guess, and I collect oracle cards because sometimes it's nice to have a variety to pull from, so you get a collection of different messages from different sources. I have a couple decks here that were gifts, so thank you very much for those gifts. I really appreciate them. If you do want to donate an oracle deck, the way to do that is in the description below. It brings you to my Amazon wish list, and the more decks, the more messages that we can possibly derive. So, and there we go. Our first card up today is Visionary Sea Queen, Potent Projections. So third eye energy coming in very loud and clear right now. So our third eye is our center for our intuitive knowing. It is that central place between the two hemispheres of the brain that is absolute wisdom at the top there. And the wisdom comes from two sources. It comes from our intuitive, our divine feminine energy in combination with our knowledge, our learned approaches. So when we combine these both into a filter, and you can see here, she's almost like a combination of very mechanical almost. We are a divine source of information, and you can see here both the third eye energy as well as that divine wisdom energy coming into this absolute place of triangular connection. And so we connect to source energy through both, and this is Kabbalistic teaching, so through both the wisdom that the wisdom is comprised of both the intuitive knowing that we get downloads for, as well as all the stuff we've studied through our life, all our life experiences. And that doesn't mean necessarily just study from books and things like that, but your actual life experiences that make you go, oh, I'm seeing a pattern established here. And when you see a pattern is when you get the insight to say, oh, okay, well, I can shift this. So when you start to see patterns establishing is the process of the learning that is required to break cycles. Because when there's a pattern, a cyclical movement that continues to happen over and over, and in many of my videos I've talked a lot about the cycles of narcissistic abuse, it goes in a pattern, and until you can see it, you can't change it. You can't change the unseen. You have to see so that you can change it. And when you see it from this third eye place, you can't unsee. That was a line in a movie, the 8mm, which I don't recommend. It was very scary. I didn't like it. But that line comes from that movie, because that line should have been the title of that movie, of once you see this movie, you can't unsee it. So once you see negative things that are at play, once you see the non-resonant, once you see and collapse the dissonance that happens when you're in a state of non-seeing, because you're seeing two realities, when duality collapses into a singular form of reality, so that you become in alignment with source energy, and it's like you're getting a download from source that feels a little bit like an anvil being dropped on your head, like the cartoons used to do. So this energy here is really speaking loudly about trusting and having faith in those visual hits that you are receiving, and understanding of what is in alignment and what is not in alignment. When we get ourselves back into alignment, we can be in a state of projecting forward our vision and moving in flow and energetic flow with what the divine wants for us. When we're out of alignment with the vision and the projections of where we see our life going, it's going to feel very turbulent and reminds me of that scene in the movie Contact with Jodie Foster. She's sitting in her container, her vehicle, which is about to drop and send her into another dimension, and she's in the vehicle and she's like, I'm okay, it's okay, but it's shaky, it's turbulent, and it's not until she releases herself from the confines of the chair that is supposed to keep her safe, when she is released into flow again, and that turbulence stops. So what is holding you in a thought of this is safe, when in reality that thing that is keeping you safe is actually causing you more turbulence in your life? That is the question here, because when you release those belt buckles, when you release yourself from the confines of your created sense of safety, what you'll find is you'll get more in flow, and the reverberations, the oscillations, the turbulence, the fear, the anxiety will start to dissipate the more you release yourself and free yourself from all of the things outside of you that aren't in alignment with high source. And high source, this triangular energy, I want to talk a little bit about, because it is comprised of faith and the expression seeing is believing. Well, believing is also seeing. And so it's more than one way. Yes, we have the believing, seeing is believing path, but we also have the believing is seeing. Sometimes you need to put the faith before you can see the lessons, and that's what faith is all about. And it can happen quite frequently that if you've had a lot of trauma in your past and a lot of turbulence, this line of connecting you to source energy may not be strong, and we have to strengthen that through cultivating a practice of faith. And whether that be utilizing meditation, whether that be utilizing aligned walking as a movement meditation, whether that be the power of prayer, any of these types of activities is going to help strengthen what could be a cut. And trauma is like if you had difficult relationship with father and mother, the connection to the one source energy may have cuts in it. So rehealing those connections to source will help us see better from our own intuitive combination. So fascinating card up is our first card, and I'm digging it. Next, we're going to hop into the Island Wellness Oracle and get a little bit of a love message for us that are looking for some info on what's happening in the heart realm. So this deck here is called the Love Oracle cards, and so I think we all could use a little bit of love. And there we go. And one came in upside down, so I'm going to take that one too. Oh, no, multiple. Okay, I'm going to just take them all. Why not? So first we have up is lightning, sudden change, shocking news, surprise, epiphanies, upheaval, and transformation. So life might be going through a few tower moments. The tower card in the tarot deck is depicted often as lightning coming in and shaking the foundations of the tower in which everyone lives, and everybody's jumping out and saving themselves and falling. And so if there's all of a sudden major shifts or major transformations, understand that is a huge part of the process of the awakening path. Because if you have been holding on to those safety belts that I've talked about in that seat, thinking that you're safe and secure in there, but it's out of alignment with what is truly safe and secure for your future, then Source is going to come along, Spirit Divine is going to come along and shake that up. And they're going to do it with the power of lightning bolts, like Zeus, coming in and saying, this is not for you. This relationship is not necessarily for you. This job is not necessarily for you. This location that you're living in is not necessarily for you. And so shocking news comes in and you're like, how am I going to deal with this? And how you're going to deal with this, our next card up is cassette. And it's because we're still in an outdated thinking, conditioning, replaying events over and over and over again. Are you in a state of complex post-traumatic stress disorder or any type of trauma response where you're constantly cycling and going over it again and again and again, and if I had done this differently and if I had done that differently, but what if this happens and what if that happens, and you're playing the same circle over and over and over again, that program. So when we're kids, we're programmed with certain records that we automatically play in our head. And because of those records, we try our very best to keep ourselves contained within the confines of what our mind perceives, our egoic self perceives, is that safe, that comfort zone. And to break out of the comfort zone is going to require a change in the cassette. So instead of saying, I can't do this, my life is shit, I'm stupid, or whatever it is that those programs are playing, when these upheavals come in, it's, I can handle this. Everything is going to be okay. I am safe. Like, is there a saber-toothed tiger in front of you right now, or are you actually safe in this moment? One of my favorite mantras that I've had to use throughout my spiritual awakening is, I am safe. Right here, right now, I am safe. So change the programming, change the record that you're hearing over and over and over, and you're telling yourself through the power of mantra and affirmations, so that you can withstand these sudden shifts, these sudden changes that are coming your way. And next up we have the sword and the rose, clarity, truth, revelation, solidarity, force, honor, protection, and power. So this card here, in alignment with the rest of them, is telling me that as you are moved out of your comfort zone, what's happening is you're actually getting into more of a state of authenticity and truth, which is throat chakra happening, and speaking your truth and communicating your truth with clarity. And the more you do that, the more you're going to have others support you in your truth, support you in your mission. So if you're feeling isolated and alone as these cassettes playing in your head, get out of your head and start speaking your truth and showing up for yourself in your truth. And that truth is in balance. We have a sword and we have a rose, which is ultimately masculine and feminine energy. The masculine being able to protect and provide for ourselves, but the feminine energy being able to receive and be vulnerable. So vulnerability and power play out in your life in what is true authenticity. No one is all powerful and no one is all vulnerable. You have the capacity to have both energies, and utilizing both energies to know when to press on with the battle and the fight. We're warriors here on this spiritual mission, and all light workers, all starseeds, all empaths have had to go through life where at times they've felt like they're carrying a sword, or, I used to describe myself as carrying a machete and cutting a path always through my life because it was difficult. And for me, it was always hard to be in that feminine energy because I had to provide for myself. I had to protect for myself. I didn't have a masculine outside of me to do that for me. And so learning to balance and learning to receive again and learning to be gentle and learning to be in an energy of calm, rejuvenation, recalibration. So in between each battle has to have rest. Yes, you're going to fight for yourself and then you're going to care for yourself. Then you're going to fight for yourself and then you're going to care for yourself. And in so doing, you're balancing the divine masculine and feminine within. And for a lot of women, I can speak for, it's been a challenging pursuit because we've been living in a masculine world, a patriarchal society. And so that has required us to step into our masculine energy more and more, trying to take on all the responsibilities of both the feminine energy as well as the masculine energy. It meant the feminine energy had to be pushed down and repressed so that we could show up in the world and build our careers and have enough money and be equal and all of these things. And what the energy is saying to us now is, okay, we need to relax that side of us and come back into a state of balance. So that we can be directed to move in our intuitive knowing of what is more in flow with our own personal power as the feminine. And as the feminine begins to rise in her own femininity, the masculine so too can rise in his own masculinity and step into his own power and his own ability and balance his divine masculine and divine feminine with him in him as well. So we're at an apex, a shifting of energies where the feminine energy is starting to rise again, and as it rises, it will balance out so that we can return to this, instead of this ridiculous quest of equality, we can set up a process of equanimity and understanding we're all unique and we're all different, and there's a feeling of equanimity as opposed to equality, because I don't want to be the same as everybody else. I want to be respected and seen and perceived in an energy of coming together, a culmination of coming together and working together for the betterment of all, betterment of self and betterment of all. Because when we're not in that, we're in an energy of not feeling good enough. Frustrated in relationship, lack of confidence, self-sabotage, fear and ego issues, and jealousy. Oh dear, dear, dear. So this poor girl on this picture here, it's raining, reminds me of that song by Travis, Why Does It Always Rain on Me? If that's the cassette that's playing in your head, that life is always shit and it's just never going to get any better, it's going to be very difficult to break out of these habits and these patterns that we have maybe set ourselves up in this nice little box of comfort. And our ego likes to be in that comfort zone. It has absolute power and control over you. Whereas when you step outside of your comfort zone, the soul starts to take over and starts to guide and lead you. And it will lead you through storms. But she has an umbrella. So she will be protected from the storms as she moves through them, and understands that even though there is not a feeling of satisfaction while you're walking through the storms, and as Winston Churchill said, when in hell, keep walking, you keep walking, you keep moving, it doesn't matter whether you have the confidence yet, you will. The more you do, the more it cultivates within you. So if you're walking away from relationships that are no longer in alignment, and that's what's coming crashing down, then it's time to fake it until you make it and get out of the cycles of self-sabotage, because you're sabotaging yourself when you stay stuck in situations that's causing you to be jealous. If you're looking at other people's relationships and going, I wish that was mine, and you're feeling some envy, that's only going to come back and bite you on the butt. So I look at envy as, jealousy is I want that too, but envy is like, I don't want you to have that because I don't have that. And if you're in that energy, that's something that you need to do some serious shadow work to help get yourself out of it and clear it, so that you can say, hey, I deserve that too. Why can't I have that too? Oh, I see. These are the things that are in my way that is preventing me from obtaining the things that I want. And some of those things are, I'm keeping myself safe in a situation that isn't safe. I'm listening to words in my head that are telling me that I'm not good enough, that are telling me that are negative self-talk, and I got to stop doing that. I'm out of balance between my masculine and feminine. I'm trying to like either force everything to happen according to my will, or I'm trying to do nothing, and I've become complacent and apathetic, and those are toxic masculine and feminine energies at play. And last but not least, wow, we have seduction. Attraction, flirting, dating, hooking up, temptation, third-party interference. Oh, dear me, dear me, dear me. Okay, sexuality. I just talked a little bit about divine sexuality in one of my most recent videos. I'm not sure which one. I'll put the link to it at the end of this video, talking a little bit. Oh, yes, I remember. It was is seeking validation invalidating you. So go watch that video after this one if you have the time, because I talk a good bit about seduction and divine sexuality in that video, and the bottom up versus the top down approach to divine partnership. And if you're doing a bottom up approach, you're starting with an energy of sexuality and flirtation and this and that, and what needs to happen is it needs to be a top down approach. I'll get more into that in that video. So if you are finding yourself in a situation where you, in your comfort zone, you're seeking outside flirtation, outside situations, ask yourself the ultimate question: am I truly happy? Am I truly, truly happy? Authenticity, remember? Am I truly happy? Do I feel like I can't get better? And that's why I'm staying stuck in this situation that isn't working for me? Is the self-talk that you're saying to yourself right now, well, you know, it's not that bad. It's just a harmless flirtation, or I'm not physically cheating. I'm just sending photos. I'm just sexting with this person. Ask yourself, is that in alignment with your truth and divinity, the divine masculine and feminine? If you're not, it is far better to leave a relationship that is no longer functioning than stay in one that is dysfunctional. So those are some messages for us from the Island Time Wellness. Now, wouldn't it be nice to go have some island time? That would be heavenly. That's where I would like Spirit to lead me out of my comfort zone, right to the islands. Any island will do. Next up, I have from the Chakra Wisdom Oracle Guidebook, and this was a gift. Thank you very much. I really love this card. It's so bright and colorful. And this is by Tony Hartman. And there we go. That was easy enough. We have joy. Joy. Yes, well, I'm feeling some joy. Even in the shadowy times, I'm feeling some joy. And look at the back of this card, first of all. The back of the deck it's like this woman, or I suppose it could be a man, who's on this long journey in through all these fields and different energies. All the chakra colors are here, and as she walks along, she's collecting beautiful crystals along the way. So beautiful gems as you go through your journey of life, your hero's quest, and you dig through. And I love how it's like windy and this, and you're moving your way through all of the issues that present, all the root chakra, sacral, solar plexus, heart, and so on. There are gems of truths and gems of knowledge and gems located all the way for you to find. It's a beautiful journey, and she's got her own light source. So this is very much talking to me about the path of the light worker. And the light worker's path is to first get themselves out of the dark places so that they can illuminate the path for others. And so you may find yourself going through a lot of this darker stuff that we just talked about, and things breaking down, and things not working, and loss of jobs. Any number of things can be a tower moment for you, a lightning moment, an aha that comes with that lightning that this isn't for me. And it propels you to walk. So I've called this the You movement, originally called the Unfucking movement, because what cured me of the majority of things that were wrong with me was walking. Pilgrimage. And that's what these cards is all about, is pilgrimage. You need to get out and move. You need to walk. You need to get yourself in physical alignment, and then you'll be in spiritual alignment, because when your physical body becomes aligned, your emotional body becomes aligned, your mental body becomes aligned, and your spiritual body becomes aligned, so that you can have greater insight and the third eye opens and everything else is going good. I'm just hearing right now, make sure if you're trying to work on your third eye, just to go back to this card for a minute, please stop brushing your teeth with fluoride or using fluoride products, because that calcifies your pineal gland, which will make this intuitive knowing an impossible feat. So the first you need to decalcify your pineal gland. If you are struggling with intuition and struggling to get into this visionary type of state, stop with the fluoride, go fluoride free as much as you can, and add to your diet cilantro. Cilantro is a wonderful detoxifier. So that's just a side note. So this card up, we have joy. And I'm digging that. Sunflowers all over it. Sunflowers speak dramatically to me. The stone in my hand is adventurine, which is speaking out to me to have a few adventures. And she is dancing. She's lifting her hands in joy, the eyes closed. She's just doing her own thing here. We have multiple colors at play here. Right in her very core, we have a sunflower. So that's talking to me about solar plexus energy and developing self-esteem, developing self-confidence, developing self-worth, and saying, I am me, rawr, hear me roar, because the dress that she's wearing is a nice turquoise blue. Throat chakra, all about authenticity and owning her truth, and just, I don't care, I'm weird, I'm going to wave that weird around willy-nilly. Guess what? There's no such thing as normal, so be weird. Be as weird as you possibly can. The world needs more weird and a whole lot less faux normality. There is no such thing as normal. And we have in behind a lot of third eye energy, again connecting in, as well as source white energy here. So she's in connection with divine source, and she's just going to dance and have a little bit of fun, wiggling her hips and releasing any trauma that's in there. A lot of trauma gets stored in your hips. So you can see here, she's just wiggling it. Somatic movement is one way that can bring you and cultivate the practice of joy. B for bliss. You are able. If you don't know about the ABLE program, please watch any of the videos on the playlist ABLE, and learn to cultivate a little bit more of a bliss practice, which ties very much into your emotional health and your emotional frequency and vibration, to raise the vibe. Everybody, what's raise the vibe? Well, to raise the vibe, you cannot supersede or bypass or jump past all the other emotions. You have to allow those emotions to come. You have to feel them so that you can release them, so that you can then stand up in a state of joy and go, wow, I did it. I did the work. I cried the tears. Went through the shadows. I walked the path. I did the soul searching through all of these areas. I went on my own mission of self and discovered all of my gifts and my shadows in the root chakra, in the sacral chakra. I cried all the emotions. I released the water energy. I stood up in my personal power in the solar plexus. I felt the compassion for self and cultivated compassion for self so that I can feel compassion for others. I spoke my truths. I broke the silence. I am standing in my authenticity. I'm seeing where I want to go. I'm in alignment with Source. This is the path of the spiritual warrior. This is the path of the hero's quest. This is the path, and you are the hero. You are the warrior. And this is amazing. And it's funny, so I'm using this card as an example in the back, but I'm going to draw your attention to the front because it's talking about soulmate, and I just picked this card up on top. So joy might be coming in with connections to some soulmates. Your soulmates has to be a romantic connection. It can be soul tribe. So as you've been on this journey, the first part of this journey is all about walking it alone for a period of time. You see them walking alone, and as they walk, they start envisioning. That third eye starts opening up. We have another third eye happening here. And they're connecting into other connections that they see. Do you ever have that experience where you're thinking about somebody and all of a sudden they text you or something like that? So this is connections to soul family, soul tribe. And it's a beautiful card because we want this red energy, want to ground that in. So you may only be connecting with people in the ethereal, maybe online, and not seeing a lot of these people in your physical being. And that's okay because you know that they're there. And one of the things about the light worker path is, as star seeds, it's literally like planting seeds. And I don't know if you're much of a gardener. I myself have dabbled with gardening a little bit. And you need to space those seeds out. And I've learned from the hard way that if you don't space the seeds out, then you get too many shoots growing and it doesn't give space for the roots to grow and it doesn't give space for the plants to grow. So if plants aren't planted at a certain distance from each other, they don't have the room that they need to grow into their fullness. And think about how much space a sunflower takes up. When it grows, it gets huge. If you plant them right close to each other, both of those plants will be fighting against each other. So your soul tribe might be planted at a distance from you, and you'd be like, oh, I want to see you, but you're living in different towns, you're living in different countries. Utilize the internet to connect to soul's tribe so that you feel maybe a little bit less alone, and you can just be in your joy, dancing in your space, knowing that they're out there, and knowing that you have more like you, more that resonate in the same energy that you, that more that's like, yes, I get you. I get you. I got you. Next up, we're going to hop into, and before I do, look at this beautiful little rose quartz angel. I love this crystal. It's a lovely one. And I'm hopping into my angel deck. There we go. Okay, creativity. Well, that ties in with joy. Creativity. The angels suggest that you explore your creative potential now. Creativity is an energy for adventure and change. It may herald a new idea, an inspiration for a book, an artistic vision, or a new project. Let your imagination flow. If you do not know how to channel the force, you may feel restless or dispirited. So ask your angel to help you direct your creative energy towards something worthwhile. The angel wisdom reminds you that you are a co-creator with the divine. Use your power with wisdom and joy. And the affirmation to use today is, I enjoy my creative powers and I use them for the highest good. I'm going to say that again. I enjoy my creative powers and I use them for my highest good. So highest good is a funny one, because highest good represents not just what's good for you, but what's good for the whole. And oftentimes we negate our own what's good for me because we're giving it to somebody else. Well, this is what's good for them, so I'll do what's not good for me. Or we do what's good for us and we don't take into consideration what's good for everyone. And so there needs to be a sense in creating highest good, an understanding that there has to be balance. Well, this isn't working for me. I understand that you're getting something out of it. However, the paradigm needs to change. The situation needs to change. Otherwise, it's not workable anymore. And vice versa. If you're putting your needs ahead of those of others, and we can delude ourselves into thinking we're doing something, people pleasing or self-sacrificing sounds like, oh, but I'm doing something for you, aren't I a good person? It's actually a highly manipulative energy, because you're not doing it from a place of authenticity. You're doing it from a place of, but what can I get out of it subtly and passively? If I please to you, am I subtly and passively receiving a false sense of peace or a false sense of joy? So my camera gave out for whatever reason, even though I had gone ahead and done another whole half hour worth of reading. So that's okay. I'm going to reiterate and hopefully channel the messages that are meant to be heard. And if some of those that weren't meant to be heard got lost, so be it. The next card up we had was Autumn. And this card is talking about time. And understanding that all of this that's going to happen, all of our soul's mission, our soul's journey through our self and self-discovery, the hero's path, is going to take time. As much as time is a frustration for us, we would like to have things in the immediate, and that's the way culture has presented, is immediate gratification, but everything happens in cycles. And whether this is a year cycle or a 15-year cycle or a life cycle, it takes time to cultivate that fruition. And from the time that we plant the seed up until the point of growth and fruit comes, it takes the time. So this card, which is Autumn, it says, in the fall season, everything comes together and you reap wonderful harvests of abundance. Oftentimes I hear a lot about people talking about manifestation without understanding that within manifestation, to create these big visions that you may have for your life, it's not something that just you can go from an immediate way of being to a new way of being, especially if you have a long history of a habit of thinking you're not good enough and playing a record in your head that's telling you that you're not good enough, an energy of being in toxic or dysfunctional, out of balance, masculine and feminine energy within you, utilizing relationship, jobs, and places to keep you safe when you aren't actually safe in them. That comfort zone is a faux illusion of egoic creation. All of these types of things take time to change. It takes time to reprogram the mind. It takes time to reparent the emotions. It takes time to cultivate bliss and not bypass and try to get there by pretending to be false positive all the time. It takes time to actually experience and release the emotions, to do the inner child work, to do the healing work, to do the letting go of what's no longer working for your highest and greatest good. It takes time. So this card may sound a little bit like a disappointment and a letdown for you, but don't worry, the path is illuminated for you. And the more you keep your focus on that illumination, on that goal that you have, and working towards it, little bits, action steps every single day, utilizing the ABLE program, please feel free to go and watch that video. I have actually a lot of videos on the ABLE program or in an Able playlist. Check that out if you don't know what I'm talking about. And next card up, we have cyclamen. And I even love how the word cyclamen talks about cycles. I've talked a lot about cycles in this. We've got cycles in this energy here of the soulmate, where you're constantly going through that labyrinth of going down and then back up, and then down and then back up, and then down and back up. And in this process of cycles of rebirth and death and rebirth and death, especially through the process of a spiritual awakening, it's developing resignation. And that's what this says here. Resignation. Say goodbye to know what you no longer need. And what you no longer need is anything that's not in alignment with your heart space or divine source. We have pink, we have white energy here. We have 3 and 3 bringing together 6, which is also very much symbolic of that Fibonacci sequence of cycles that are necessary, part of the process in cultivating greater surrender. Resignation is surrender. Surrender is not a beautiful natural thing that just is like, I surrender. No, surrender comes when you're exhausted. Surrender comes when you're tired of fighting. Surrender comes when you just throw your hands up in the air and go, okay, I'll do it your way. I whatever you want. I surrender. Dear God, please help me surrender. Dear God, please help me let go of this. Please let me release these egoic trappings that are keeping me circling round and round and round so I can never ascend up out of them. Surrender. Surrender and surrender some more. I've said all of those many times over. Next up, we have card number 34, which is passion, and card number 30 from I should mention these cards came from the magical messages from the Fairies Oracle deck, the language of flowers, which was a gift. Thank you very much, Terry, for that gift. And then last but not least, the Activations Oracle Guide. Okay, so our last 2 cards up today is 34 and 30, passion and integration. Passion. The frequency of passion reminds us that beneath every intense emotion lies a hidden gem of insight. Okay, so I'm going to say that again because I want to really stress this. Reminds us that beneath every intense emotion, every single one of them has value, and underneath each of those emotions lies the hidden gems. And remember, on this card, we saw on the back of this card all these like gemstones. So there's hidden gems of insight, balance, and calm. It assists us in finding the balance within this intensity, moving us from chaos to the calm of its core, where it can be let long-lasting wisdom fill us up. Wisdom, first card up. We can see from this passion card we have a lot of powerful energy, a lot of sexual energy that can be utilized towards creating a passionate thing. In the energy of the masculine, that's located in the root chakra, and in the feminine, that's located in the sacral area. That's where the sex organs reside. And so in utilizing this powerful, attractive energy that we have towards something, it doesn't necessarily mean a passion towards people. It can be a passion about a career, a mission, a purpose, a job, a location to move to. I feel impassioned about this. When you have that passion that is the core driving you and utilizing from a place of authenticity, because we have, again, this turquoise energy here, and then we have at the very core of this heart-centered love energy, and at the absolute core, we have in alignment with divine, that white source. So in the very center of it all, we can find peace and comfort and love within being in truth and being within alignment with higher source energy of what high source wants for us. And in that state of peace and singularity, the creative force is ever expanding outwards. We have a flower of life that goes and expands in all directions, in all ways, from that one source seed, it's expanding outwards in every direction. Beautiful card. I'm all for the passion. Let's bring it on. Number 30, integration. Integration here is talking about how it takes time. Again, we go back to the autumn card. It takes a little bit of time for there to be resonance between coming together with all of this new way of being, a new way of thinking, and balancing in. So as these energies come together, it's that reverberation of not quite in harmony yet, and there's a merging that goes on. Especially if you happen to be on the twin flame journey, if you need help understanding what I'm talking about when it comes to merging the energetic fields, when you have your awakening, your Kundalini awakening, your soul recognition, when you come face to face with a twin flame situationship, there's a third energy that is created between the two of you in the 5D realm, and within that third energy that you are part of, you're part of that third energy, when there's going to be a merging of energetic information that comes in, and a lot of shifts can happen. You may suddenly experience a lot of sensations that you're like, is this even my emotion? Where's this emotion coming from? Or physical sensations, and any number of weird woo out there experiences. And through that integration process, that merging that happens on the 3D level, what it's doing is bringing you into oneness. And this energy here is talking about the union of the divine masculine and divine feminine energies coming together within you. So it's balancing within you, because you've got this third energy that's outside of you. Our physical forms are just really small. If you look at us from a soul perspective, we're huge, we're massive, and I'm like an earring on the soul, and they're like a ring. We're just accessories to soul. Soul is huge, soul is massive. And so what happens when you have soul recognition with somebody, if you've had that experience with somebody, what's going on is in this whole soul is these two energies are flooding together and mixing together like you would mix wet and dry ingredients of a cake. And, a little bit of their knowing and their knowledge is shared into you, and you're experiencing that as well. So there may be a lot of out there experiences that you may be having as you go through this merging energetics of shifts and change on your spiritual awakening, because you're becoming more soul. You're becoming in-souled. And you're becoming out of ego. That's why you go through a process of ego death in Dark Night of the Soul, is because ego is dissolving. It is all these original records that we used to play ourselves, like we are not good enough, and all the rest of these things are being expunged out, because that is egoic. That is egoic in nature, and what ego wants to do is keep you trapped in that comfort zone where it has power, whereas soul is saying, oh, no, you're so much bigger than that. You're so much bigger than that. And there may be a little bit of tuning that needs to be done in the integration process of learning how to reparent and reprogram and recare and learn self-compassion and learn self-love and all of these things, before you get into an absolute state of harmony. Like a symphony at the beginning of their rehearsal is, everybody's playing their instruments trying to tune up so that everybody can be in harmony with each other. And so while you're on this journey, on this quest, there'll be a lot of, at times, you're not in the same frequency and you're not in the same harmony with others, and some are going to reverberate, and it's going to become even more noticeable that this isn't working, this is very conflicted, this is not having the desirable outcome, and so I need to move further away from this and start my own little 3-piece band that we can keep in tune, or learn to be on your own for a while so that you can be in tune with yourself and in tune with source. The message here is, the frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing what we perceive as positive as negative to harmonize and balance the symphony of life. So it's our perceptions, and that's even where we started, was potent projections. It's our perceptions of what we want in life. Ask ourselves, is that coming from an egoic perception, or is that coming from a soul-based perception? And the more we get into the energy of in-souled and our soul's projection for what our life that is full of passion, and you will know it's soul if it feels passion, if you have passion for it. If you don't feel passion for it, if you don't feel joy for it, then you're not going to be able to create it. These are necessary elements to that, baking that cosmic cake, to creating whatever it is that you're wanting to create down the line. If you don't have the passion motivating it, if you don't have the love for it, that connection of alignment with it, it's not going to manifest as smoothly or as easily as you may want. And you may manifest it for a short period of time, and then ultimately spirit will come along and go, yeah, no, that's not for you. You're for something else. And balancing and surrendering, coming back into resignation, resigning ourselves that we're just along for the ride. This is our vehicle that's like saying, hop on in, I want to take you to your greatest life. And ego's like, no, I don't want to. And so there may be some disharmony inside yourself for a little bit of time before you can get more and more into surrender and say, I surrender. Just take me where you want to take me. I'm good. I'm good. I know that good is coming down the road for me. I know that I'm going to reap what I sow. So I'm going to give out goodness. I'm going to give out love. I'm going to give out joy. I'm going to give out passion. And I'm going to give out truth. That said, have a super awesome day. And hopefully this worked this time.